Okay, give me 1 second to pull the chat back up. Hey Misty, I'm so glad I saw you on there before I started. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pan down. Excuse me for just a second. Let me get everything lined up. I'm going to turn it y'all's way so you can see. Tonight we are going to, oh, thank you. Thank you, Laura. I think that's Laura, the paper trail. I think so. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you guys have any questions, I'll try to check the chat as much as I can. It's hard for me to do two things at once sometimes, so if I miss your question, I'm sure Carrie will get it. So this is what we're creating tonight. This little, it's the dollhouse from Julie Nutting, but I just went ahead and kind of used it as a printer's tray. I wanted to kind of show y'all some of my tips because I love to alter these and I do them quite often. So I just wanted to kind of start out with that for my first show and give you guys some tips on how to make it a little easier, a little quicker. So that is what we're going to be working on. And Carrie can give you a link to the full supply list. I'll go ahead and show you most of what we're using. A few of the items come directly from my stash. They've been left over for like a year or more maybe. I only have like one of them left. So those I don't have a package for, but I did dig out the product number, so it is written with the rest of the products. So the first thing I'm going to show you, of course, is the paper, and it is the Archivist collection, one of the new releases, and I'm absolutely in love with it. I'm just in love with it. So the product number for this one is 990275. I'm going to try to go quickly through this because I have so much to do on here. The next is the alphabets that I'm using, and I love any of these. I mean, there's a bunch of different colors that Prima makes, but this particular one is from the Fairy Bell collection, and the number is 555375. And then, of course, the Julie Nutting Dollhouse. This is the back to it right here, so you can kind of see the sample there. It's absolutely perfect for the dolls she makes. And the product number there is 910891. Move that out the way. And then I've got a bunch of stuff to show y'all because this thing is loaded with product. This is the little, and Frank would kill me because I don't know how to pronounce these, but they're the Levi cloches. I don't know. Everybody laugh at me because I totally don't know how to say that word, but the product number is 990312. I absolutely love these. They're awesome. I'm using some of the Embellishing Junkyard Findings, and these are the keyholes, and that is 892227. Yeah, the list is really long, y'all, so that's why I'm going through it kind of fast, but like Carrie said, you can find the list on there. This is one of my favorite sets of flowers, and it's the Tatiana Oceana line. These are just absolutely beautiful. I love these so much, and the number is 566371. More Junkyard Findings from Embellishing. Those are the heart gears, and that is 891794. Using these new flowers, which are absolutely beautiful. I love, love, love rolled roses. So they're absolutely beautiful. This is from the new Butterfly collection by Jody Lee, and the number is 580629. They are, Adrian, these are, I love these so much. Very, very pretty. This is some metal trinkets from the Timeless Memories collection, and we're just going to be using this one. I tried really hard to incorporate this guy because it's absolutely beautiful and ornate, but I didn't end up using it. But the number for this is 579791. Using some of the Finnabair vintage trinkets from the Sunrise Sunset collection, and that is, of course, I don't have the number to that one, y'all. I'm very sorry, but it is linked where Carrie told y'all that. It's on Facebook and on the blog and everything, so I'm sorry. This is the Stampin' Abs from Embellishing. I think they were like a mid-release, and I'm absolutely in love with them. They're just amazing. So I got the butterfly wings one, which I love. Thank you, Carrie. And this number is 892500. They are just super fun. Love these so much. And then I also got the Angel Wings version, which is equally as amazing. And then that number is 892494. What I love about this is, you know, you'll run out of these pretty quickly, but these, you can put, we all have elements in our stash that will fit those. There's plenty of Prima stuff, so possibilities are endless with those. I absolutely love them. Here are some more of the new flowers. I love the colors, especially this one right here. And that is number 578848. And now on to my favorite thing ever in the whole wide world. The Prima vines and the Providence ones are probably up there in my all-time favorites. My favorite Prima product is always the vines. I absolutely love them. And this number is 578275. More junkyard findings. These are the ones that have like the spark plug and the keys, and we're going to be using the key. That is number 891787. We're getting there, y'all. These are some more of the hardware from Frank and Prima's new line, the Archivist. And I think this is the memory hardware, that's what it's called. And I'm not going to try to pronounce that either because everybody will laugh at me. But that number is 990299. Some more beautiful Prima flowers. Absolutely love these. I didn't use a whole ton of flowers on this like I thought I was going to. Well, I mean, this is still a lot, but it's not as much as I thought I was going to. But this number is 577506. And we're just going to be using one little guy out of this one. Or little girl, I guess it is. Some more of the Shabby Chic Treasures. This is the cast iron ones, and they are so amazing. I love them. Bona, thank you for making it. Yes, I am totally Southern, Delana. I was born and raised in Tennessee, but now I live in Florida. Definitely have the accent still. This is number 892418. Another amazing piece from the Shabby Chic Treasures. Everything Ingold Ball makes, I just adore. This is 892449. We are almost done with these, y'all. And this is one that I already tore the packaging off, so like I said, Carrie can probably post it up there. But this is the little tray that matches, you know, the Archivist collection, and I absolutely love this. I think I used one of everything in this. And what I love to do is use these trays as well when you're done with them. They're just perfect. I kept trying to incorporate it in here somehow, but it didn't end up working. But I love, love, love those. Now all I have left to show y'all are, oh my gosh. I minimized my thing. Hold on one second, y'all. Okay, all I have left are the paste. This is the Texture Paste Platinum Crackle from Finnabare's new art ingredients. It's amazing. And it is 961527. Let me go ahead and move my mouse out of the way so I don't accidentally do that again. Okay, the next one's the modeling paste, which I love as well. And it is 961411. I'm using the 3D matte gel as my adhesive for pretty much everything. And its number is 961398. And then last but not least is the new mica flakes, and this is the gold leaf color. So pretty. I only used a few of these, but I mean, you don't really need to use a whole ton of them. They're just beautiful. This is 961756. So like I said, during it, I might pull out some bits and bobs like this frame right here. But it's all on the description list, but I honestly can't, I didn't go in and write it all down somewhere. So there's so many pieces from my stash that I have collected over time. So to save time, because this is a lot to cover, I went ahead and gessoed the entire thing white, so all the way around it. And then the papers, I went ahead and adhered most of them. The ones that were just basic, me putting them in there, I went ahead and just put those in. But the ones that I do a little different thing to, I went ahead and kept those out to show y'all how I do it. So for this one right here, it's very easy. I like to curl up my paper edges. It just adds a little bit of extra interest. Super easy to do. All you got to do is just spray the paper to get it moist. Yes, I did hit record. I did, Carrie. So just go ahead and spray it. You can manipulate paper so easily. There's a couple of people out there who are just amazing at it. I am not one of those people, but I do like to do a few little things like this. So I just wet it and then curl it up on a paintbrush, a pencil, anything you have. And then once it dries, and of course you can expedite the process with your heat tool, but mine is really loud, so I'm going to skip that and just go ahead and adhere it in. But it will keep that shape forever as soon as it dries. So I'm going to go ahead and set that there, and I'll glue those all at the same time. So at the top of this frame, these compartments, it's a little harder than just saying it's 2 by 2. So I wanted to show you kind of how I usually get my shape on those. Is I usually just go ahead and get this part measured, which was 1 3/4. So I go ahead and do that. And then I just usually use my fingernails, or you can use a bone folder, anything you have on hand, and I just kind of put it in there how it would be. And just start kind of working it in there, and then just use my nail to kind of score it and push it all the way flush If you don't have long nails, just use your bone folder. So I am just pushing it in there with my nails. Yep, that looks pretty perfect. And then just pull it back out, nice and easy. And then you've got your cut mark right there. All you've got to do is unfold it and just cut along the crease that you made. Let me grab my scissors. A lot of times I choose things to alter that are a little complicated, and I don't know why I do it to myself, but covering things with paper sometimes is really hard to do. This, of course, is not that hard, but wanted to go ahead and share that just in case somebody was wondering. And everything, all of my edges on all of the paper, I used the distress tool, of course, to just give it a more vintage and worn look. And then I'll be using the chalk edger and branch bark. This is like my all-time favorite. I use this on everything. And just ink the edges. So all of those have been distressed and inked. So there's that one. I also took I took the tiny attacher from Tim Holtz. I don't know if you can see it, it's pretty little. And just did a little bit of cross stitching with the staples. And then on this one right here, on the tray, I love to do corset lacing. It's kind of like my little obsession. Pretty much everything I do, I always do corset lacing, so I had to incorporate it somehow. Another tip I wanted to tell y'all, instead of just measuring each compartment and cutting the paper one by one, I usually go through with my ruler and just write my measurements in there and then just cut all the paper at once. It just saves a little bit of time. Just a little tip. I'm sure everybody has their own way of doing things. So to get the corset lacing, I don't ever really measure things, or I'm not a perfectionist. So what I usually do is just, this is about 4 1/2. So I'm going to start at about the 1 inch mark, and let me grab my pen. It has eluded me. It's hiding from me somewhere. Okay, a pencil will do. So I just go through and kind of make little marks at about every 1/2 inch. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means, but just gives me a way to know all my holes are equally spaced, and it'll look a lot better when you're done. So just every 1/2 inch, just make a little mark with your pencil, not too big, or sometimes it'll show. And then I just go back and do the same thing on the other side. And ideally, I was going to put eyelets on the holes. Of course, that would look a lot better, but I was trying to keep all of this under an hour, so definitely adding some eyelets will make it look a lot prettier. I mean, usually if I'm just doing the project, I just use my eyes and just put my little dots wherever I want to put them. Nothing's ever perfect with me. I'm not worried about measurements or anything. And then just take your crocodile, hole puncher, whatever you have on hand. Just punching my holes, wrong size, I need the big one. Big hands, Carrie? I don't know what y'all are talking about, but this chat is always so entertaining. When Adrian was on the other night, it was really fun to just sit and talk to everybody. Who's 4'11"? Alicia, you're short like me. I'm 5'1". So you're even smaller than I am. You do not have man hands. That is so funny, Adrian. That is so funny, but you totally don't. Okay, once I have all my holes punched, I'm just going to use some seam binding to lace it up. You round up on your driver's license. Yeah, I always get made fun of for being short, but it doesn't bother me. I think that's why people always mistake my age. Nobody ever believes that I am 30 because I'm so short. Okay, I'm just lacing this. I'm pulling it across the top, and then I'm just going to start doing a cross stitching kind of pattern. You can always put a little bit of hot glue on the edges of your ribbon that you're using, and it makes it a lot easier to lace up. But I'm not going to. It's weird for me being at this desk. This is actually my computer desk I'm filming at, because the lighting and stuff is better over here, surprisingly. On my desk, it was just way, way, way too bright. Of course I missed a hole. It's because I'm live, so of course I have to make a mistake. I agree, Adrian, you have pretty hands. Adrian, you're just pretty altogether, and your work is very pretty too. A lot of times I'll go on the back of my paper when I'm doing like lacing things up and glue it just to make sure it stays exactly where I want. But we're gonna skip that step tonight due to time. I also like to use chain, like metal chain, to do lacing up, corset style, and it looks really, really cool. But of course you're gonna have to glue that as you go. I was gonna use chain for this, but it takes a lot longer. And my voice is already starting to crack. Aw, thank you, Adrian. Alright, and I see already that I should have added one more hole because I want to tie it at the bottom, but we can fake it. Very easy to fake it. I'll show you. Just doing it. Alright, last one, y'all. Sorry. I wanted to keep some of the little more intricate cubbies not done all the way, so it wasn't like I was on here just showing you how to add embellishments, so I kept some of these blank. So I'm going to add another hole real quick. We could totally just fake it and just tie a bow and glue it right there, but I'm going to go ahead and be proper and add another hole. I love using seam binding too. It's my favorite material. It's the only, I don't think I use much ribbon if it's not like seam binding, or I don't like really stiff ribbon or anything. I'm just going to tie a little bow. And Tiffany, she's on here tonight. She taught me how to tie bows the right way. I'm pretty sure it was you, Tiffany. I just make a loop on this side, make a loop on that side, and it's really hard to explain this step, but you just cross them over and then tuck the other one under. And it makes the perfect little bow. I used to struggle so much making bows. But Mama Tippy, I think it was you. You showed it on a video a long time ago. Alright, so that is ready to be glued in there. And that is pretty much it for covering the tray with paper. Let me find my scissors again. I always do a nice little fishtail on the ends of my ribbon. Just makes it look a lot nicer. Okay, so now we're going to adhere this in, and we will be ready to embellish. So I'm going to use the matte gel from the Art Ingredients. This is a wonderful adhesive. I used to be skeptical about it. I saw everybody using these gel mediums to attach even like the heavy embellishments, and I wasn't sure it would work, but oh my gosh, it really does. This stuff is amazing. And I'm really picky about glues that seep out or you can see them if it dries like on your paper, and this definitely doesn't do that. I'm just tucking it in there using my nails. And initially I was going to do a little curl down right here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I save all of my scraps of paper for that purpose. You can always just add it in there and then curl your paper down, and you've got a little bit added interest. And all you had to do is just save a little piece of scrap. So I always save all of my scraps. It's kind of ridiculous how much I save, but you never know when you might need it. Are we all talking about ages on here? Thank you, Adrian. I just turned 30, so I'm kind of a little bitter, or not necessarily bitter, but kind of like, wow, I'll never be able to say I'm 20-something years old again. I feel like I should be a big girl now and have everything figured out, and I definitely don't. So Tiffany, that's funny. You're like me, you hold on to everything. You do so much layering on your projects, I can see why you hold on to all your scraps. Song, no, I'm definitely 30. Definitely 30. I honestly don't feel it. I'm such a kid at heart. I don't feel it. Not that it's old or anything, but I just feel like it's a milestone, and I definitely don't feel like 30 years have went by. Okay, so we've got everything covered except this last compartment. I forgot to share that. For that compartment, I used a canvas. You can see on the real tray that it's raised up right there. It just created a really cool little effect, and it just happened to be exactly the right size. So I just covered it with a piece of paper. Didn't have to be perfect because obviously it's going to get covered up with some embellishments. And for this, I think I'm going to use, I was going to use hot glue, but I want it to be able to stay. So I'm just going to go around the edges with the gel medium. And one little trick I do, and I'm going to go ahead and do it here, is I'll like do 3 sides with my good adhesive, and then I'll go in with hot glue on one side. And all that does, a lot of people ask me why I do that, is the hot glue will hold it in place while the better adhesive is drying, because it can still move if the adhesive is wet. So the hot glue is perfect for just keeping it still so the other adhesive can dry. I've had tons of people ask me why I do that. That is the only reason why. It's not that I can't decide on it which adhesive to use. Okay, and for this compartment, I really struggled with getting it, figuring out what to put in there. It's a really big compartment. If you're using it with the dolls that it's really intended for, you don't have that worry. It's the perfect size for that, but I really had a problem with it. So again, saving my scraps, when you cut your paper out of the 8.5 by 11 pad, the top of it has this really pretty print on it. Prima goes through all the trouble of, making it really pretty. What size is that little canvas? It is a 2 by 2 canvas. Sorry, ladies. It's 2 inches by 2 inches. And I just pulled it off, of course. Let me add a little bit more hot glue. Not enough hot glue. I know a lot of people don't like hot glue, but I'm a huge fan. Obviously not for like metal embellishments, but. So yeah, Prima, it goes through all the trouble to make pretty packaging, and everything is so pretty with them, so I like to save it all. I'm just inking it up real quick with the branch bark chalk edger. And then all I wanted to do was create the illusion that it was 2 compartments. So I'm just going to center that there, and again I'm using my nails again to just create a little indentation so I can cut that excess off. And then same thing on the outside of it. And right now it doesn't really look very convincing, but when you have it all done and the embellishments in there, it looks like 2 different compartments. I mean, I was putting stuff in there and then ripping it out, and I was really struggling with that huge compartment. It took me a while to figure out what to do. Using the gel medium again, I'm wrapping it all the way around the side. And a lot of times you'll see me using a paper towel. For some reason I don't like the way adhesive feels on my fingers. So I usually use a paper towel to like push it down and make sure it's on there good. I know I'm weird. I can get paint all over my fingers and that doesn't bother me, but I don't like glue. Okay, so we are going to start embellishing. So I'm going to start with some of the simpler compartments that were pretty easy to do. And we're going to start right up here at the top. Ooh, I do have one more technique to show y'all before we do that. I'm going to go ahead and take my bottle caps out. I think I forgot to show these. These are more of the vintage trinkets from Sunrise Sunset. A little bit of an older collection, but metal embellishments never go out of style. Nothing Prima makes ever goes out of style. So another thing I always save are the plastic, I guess it's acetate packaging. You can create cool windows and all kinds of cool stuff with it. So I'm just very sloppily cutting a little piece out real quick, and then I'm going to perfect it. I want this to be the looking glass part of the little magnifying glass. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this way for y'all real quick. So what I'm going to do is just roughly cut out the size of this little looking glass compartment. And we're going to use the clear crackle paint by Tim Holtz to do so. Just cut a little circle out. Doesn't have to be perfect, as long as you've got enough of an edge to glue behind there. And that is just about right. So I'm going to go ahead and get my crackle medium. Okay. I'm just putting a generous coat. This probably won't be dry by the time I get done, but I will show you on the other tray what it looks like when it's dry. So I'm just putting a real generous coat right there, and that's going to be pretty much impossible to see on camera, but I will show you the finished piece, and that will probably show you. It ends up looking just like cracked glass. You can check out the pictures and you might see it a little bit more, but it's right in there. Hopefully that's coming across. It's kind of hard to show things like that on camera. Okay, so we've got all of our papers adhered in there, and this is what I was talking about with the other compartment, kind of making it look like there's two of them. So we're going to start with some of the simpler ones. Like some of mine only have one little embellishment. These are so pretty that you really don't need anything else. So all I'm going to do is ink it with the branch bark. I love these wood embellishments. These are amazing. So, so pretty. And again, I'm going to use the matte gel to adhere it down. And another little dollop of hot glue just to keep it in place. All I'm doing is just sticking it right in there. Nothing to that compartment. These are really fun because you can just go through your stash and see what cool elements you have and just take them all out and go to town. I usually have no problem filling up all of these compartments. Alright, this one's a really easy one too. I did go in with a stencil and add some modeling paste on this one, and I'm going to do that there as well, so I'll show you that in just a second. Just to add a little bit more interest, when I use the inks at the end, it'll look really cool. So I've got to get out my foam dots, and I just cut this out from the paper line. It had a lot of nice little elements in there. Let me try to find the typewriter. He's over here somewhere. I fussy cut a few little elements out of the paper line. There's a lot of really cool imagery in there to use. I'm out of my big dots, so I'm having to use a ton of these little ones. Alright, what are y'all talking about? Doing dishes? Yeah, I definitely don't like doing dishes either. Or laundry. I think laundry is my least favorite thing to do in the world. Poor Chris usually has a big pile of clothes and he just has to go sift through them and find what he wants to wear. It's terrible of me, but I hate it. Alright, so I'm just adhering this in the corner over here. I just added a little bit of dimension using the pop dots. So that's all we have so far. Really easy. Now on the edge of it, I'm going to go ahead and add one of the little metal keys from the Stampin' Ads that Inglebone did. I love these little keys, and the perfect thing about them is they're flat on the back, so it makes it perfect for adhering. Round objects sometimes give you a lot of trouble when you're trying to use them. And just a dot of hot glue because it is metal. And I added that one on the side, but here I think I'm going to go on the top just for fun. I'm just adding it right on the edge there. And I always have a paper towel ready in case the adhesive leaks out a little bit. So just added that on the edge there. I'm going to go ahead and add some of my corner pieces, and these are just some random ones from my stash. At the end, we will be going over everything with clear gesso so we can take all the inks properly. Alright, we're going to go down to the little canvas piece down here, which was probably my favorite compartment. We're going to use those bottle caps. I'm going to use the matte gel to adhere it down. I'm just centering it right on the canvas. Okay, and then you didn't really see this one on the pictures, it's kind of hidden. I do have another one that's face up down here. adhesive is already keeping the metal on there. It's really nice. All right, on top of that, I used one of the wooden clocks. That's from an older release with Prima, but for this show, that was the only one I had, so I'm just going to use one of the Ingle Bone clock faces. These are one of my all-time favorite items. And sometimes I don't like the 12 to be at the top, and I like to just kind of tilt it the wrong way. I don't know why. It's just one little weird quirky thing I do on my projects. So I'm going to add it right there. I'm going to take one of the numerals. If I got engaged, sorry, I'm not looking. No, I actually did not get engaged, but I got this ring so that guys don't flirt with me. Is that terrible? But I really don't like when guys flirt with me when I'm out. So I went and bought myself a little look-alike ring, me and my friend did, just so that guys do not flirt with me. Is that pathetic? Chris won't marry me, I'm telling you. He just won't marry me. I don't know what his problem is, but... Alright, I'm going to use one of the numerals. I'm going to stick it right on top of my clock, and then I'll turn it around as soon as I get done to show y'all. Oh, Frank's on here. Thank you so much, Frank. It wouldn't be so amazing without the collection you helped make. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm in love with it. Sometimes collections come out and you just have to have them, and you'll use them until people get sick of seeing you use that same collection. This is definitely going to be one of those for me. So I'm just adhering the numeral on there. You can see I use the gel for everything, and it's already holding it very well. And then I use the clock hands from the Junkyard Findings. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. I've already got quite a mess going on. All right. I'm going to use the same gel to adhere it down. I'm just sticking it right on top of the numeral, trying to get the adhesive where there's like a flat spot so it'll stay. And it's not wanting to stay, of course, but we're going to make it. Hold on. I've got something stuck on the back of it. There we go. We're going to use a little bit of hot glue too. There we go. Okay, and then on the top of that, there were these Junkyard Findings that Ingold released a while back. There were all kinds of different ones. This one actually says art on it. I don't know if you can tell, but it's so cute. I'm actually going to use that one on top of this one. I love all these little pieces. Metal embellishments are my all-time favorite. I'm sure anybody that's followed me knows that. I mean, I'm obsessed with them. Okay, for this compartment, all I am going to do is just add this little typewriter. Like I said, there's so many cute images. Goodness gracious, tongue twister. There's a lot of cute imagery that you can just cut out and use. I love typewriters. I love anything vintage. So this was perfect. All I'm going to do is, again, use my pop dots just to give it a little bit of dimension. I never used to use these things, but now I'm absolutely obsessed with them. Yes, the 3D gel. That is what I'm using. It's perfect for like metal pieces, anything heavy. I mean, it takes a little longer than hot glue to dry for sure, but hot glue is just not going to hold up to like metal. I don't discriminate when it comes to adhesives, but I'm really becoming partial to that one. So I'm just adhering him in there, sticking him all the way over to that side because I am going to add one of the little shutter pieces from the Shabby Chic Treasures. I'm just going to add one of those on there. Again, using the matte gel to adhere it. These Shabby Chic Treasures, all the resin pieces, oh, they're just amazing. I love, love, love these. They take all the inks and mediums so well. So technically, I don't know if you can tell, but this piece should be going over here, but we're sticking it over here anyway. Okay, so this is what we have so far. And we're actually doing pretty good. We got 30 minutes to fill this in. It may seem like a lot, but I think we can get through pretty quickly. All right, moving on to the next one. We've got those done. So for this one, I need some more of the bottle caps. I absolutely love using these. I'm going to put it right here in the corner. On the tray that I posted, it has the pictures of it. I did do a lot more of the modeling paste than I'm doing on this one, but I realized when I was all done, you couldn't really see it, so I just don't really want to waste my product. It pretty much all got covered up. So, just an extra step that we don't really need to do. So I'm just adding the regular one, and then I'm going to put another one face up, so it's basically going to pop up the next embellishment that I put on. It's just going to be another one of the wood pieces that are just beautiful. I really, really, really love the wood pieces. So since Frank is here, he can totally pronounce this for us. I'm sure I can't. Yes, I did have a French mani done. If you're talking about me, I did. I used to never get my nails done, but the last month or so, about 6 weeks, I've been getting them done, and I absolutely love the way it looks. And I figured you guys did not want to see my hands looking all rough. I use a lot of adhesive. I'm pretty liberal with it. Just putting that on there. Okay, Frank, since obviously you can't pronounce this for us, but what does this mean? Oh, I'm asking and he's typing it. It means fall in love. I like it even more. All right, just adding that there. I'm going to take one of the Eiffel Tower pieces. How cute are they? They are absolutely adorable. I love them. A lot of these pieces I didn't have to do anything to. I mean, they're already colored. They already have the design on them. They're just perfect. Just inking the edges just a little bit. You could use the back side of it too and just do plain wood. Or paint it, whatever you want to do. I'm just adding this bad boy in here. Just like that. Okay. I'm trying to save all my flower adding for last, so I'm kind of skipping around a little bit. Any compartment that has a flower, I'm pretty much skipping it. This is a little lion's head door knocker that I don't remember where I got. I had a couple in my stash. Just some generic metal piece that I had. I'm always on the lookout for metal pieces. I raid my boyfriend's shop all the time. And if he has anything cool looking in there, it gets taken to my scrapbook room. So here's what we have so far. Once we start adding the flowers, everything will start coming together nicely. Okay, we're going to skip right on up to this compartment. Keep using these beautiful little wood pieces. This clock is amazing. I mean, look at all the detail on it. It's totally beautiful. He will, if y'all are talking about me, who's getting proposed to? I'm reading the chat over here. I hope my boyfriend proposes to me one day, but yeah. Alright, let me find the piece that I need. There we go. I absolutely love these. Frank, you'll have to explain what these mean either. How terrible that I love them, but I don't even know what they say. They're beautiful though. Me? That would be awesome. A bouquet of Prima flowers. You know I would definitely do that. I mean, who wants flowers that are gonna, you know, not last and just die? I want Prima flowers. Alright, I'm adding that in there with the matte gel. And it's white right now, as you can tell, but when it dries, it'll be clear. So it might look kind of milky now, but it works out. And then I'm going to add one of the little butterflies, and I love that it's just one-sided. I absolutely love that. Typically, you know, you have both of the wings, so I like that that's a little bit different. And to add this one, I'm going to use a foam dot and some glue. It's kind of tricky to get something flat on a curved surface, so I just put a little foam adhesive right there. And a little bit of the matte gel just on the tip of it, like that. And then I'm just going to kind of rest it on that foam. It's not want to sit right at first, but as the adhesive dries, it will do what it's supposed to do. And of course it's not going to right now because we're live, so I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue just to help it do what I want it to. and the lovely glue strings that come with using hot glue. All right, so this is what we've got so far. We're about to start getting into the flowers, which of course is going to be everybody's favorite part. I'm going to add my lamp post in there. I love this lamp, these lamps. I don't know why I grabbed my little scissors instead of my Timmy Holtz ones. These are my little fussy cutting scissors and they don't want to cut through anything. Alright, I'm just going to add him right here. He's a little bent. Let me get him back in shape. Just going to add it right there. And if I'm adding it right here, I usually don't put the adhesive on the metal. I just go ahead and stick it right here on the wood. And again, I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue just to hold it in place. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to do this compartment up here. Using more of the metal trinkets that are so pretty. Oh, thank you. The butterfly is adorable. I love that butterfly. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's so ornate and pretty. I just couldn't find a place to put it. So we're going to glue this guy here. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's a ton of sirens going down the road and it's super loud. It's spring break here. Well, it's the beginning of it. By this weekend, it'll be spring break. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Panama City, but it gets pretty crazy. We're going to go ahead and adhere this guy on there, and I can just slip the crackled glass that we made. I can slip him on there whenever it's dry. That crackle paste sometimes takes a long time to dry, which is hard for me because I'm very impatient. I know a lot of people wait for things to dry naturally, like paints and sprays and everything, and I don't know how you do it because I am so impatient. I just can't. All right, next compartment is right here. We're going to use one of these little frames from the Shabby Chic Treasures, which are beautiful always. I'm just going to put it right in here in the middle. And like I said, some of that adhesive will probably ooze out, but once it dries clear and matte. I don't like glossy things. Oh, Delana, I'm sure you know all about it if you live anywhere close to here. It's crazy. It took about, let's see, it took me a day to make it, maybe 5 hours, only because I was kind of going back and forth with ideas and ripping things off, and this part was giving me a really hard time, but once, you know, you have it all figured out, it's not that time consuming at all. But I struggle to commit to things, so it was really hard for me to just be like, this is what I'm going to use, so it took me a while. All right, let me find my lovely keys. I'm a very slow crafter. I have never been fast. I'm always slow. It takes me a very long time to do my projects sometimes. For those of you that do layouts, I bow down to you because they are really hard for me. I mean, it can take me 2 or 3 days just to do the layout, but then I can whip out an altered project in a couple hours. So it just depends on how involved it is. All right, I'm going to add one of those beautiful keyholes to the middle of the frame. And I'm going to put adhesive on both sides, and I'm also going to put some foam dots in the middle of that frame because it'll probably touch that and that'll keep it in place. Just going to add a couple in there, just like that. And then stick my little keyhole on. Yep, we're going to have to do 2 rows of the foam. I want it to have something to grab to while that adhesive is drying. I'm literally peeling this off and throwing it on my floor. When I get done, I'm going to have a big cleanup to do. Ah! Having nails sometimes is not a perk. Okay, That'll hold it in place. Perfect. Hey Peggy, so glad to see you on here. And on top of that, we're going to add the key. Let me find my key. Got everything kind of piled up over here. Where did he go? He's hiding, so we're going to skip him from now. As I use more embellishments, he'll show up. Here on this side, I used the Prima packaging, you can see, just to kind of thicken up my die cut, and then I just adhered the paper on top of it. I'm just going to stick it over here on this compartment. Okay. Here on this little compartment we created, I'm going to add, this is from an older line, I cannot remember what it was called, but it was the same kind of color palette and vintage, goodness, somebody help me, engraver maybe? Was it the engraver? I'm going to add the clock just right here on the side of it. I love anything that has like neutral tones and you can pretty much add anything to it. Oh, good night. Thank you for coming in. All right, I'm going to start adding my corner pieces. These are just some generic metal ones from my stash. Just going to add it right here. Then I'm going to add another one up here in this corner. Kind of gets covered up when it's all said and done, but it's all about the details, right? Okay, and we're almost ready for flowers. Let's see, which compartment do we have left? We have this one, and all I did up here was add a few gears in the corner in no particular order. I'm just going to start grabbing gears and adding them on top of each other. Gina, I see that you're just logging on. Hello, hello. Totally missed most of the chat. I can't do two things at once, but for those of you on here supporting me, thank you so much for making it. All right, I'm just going to start stacking a few of those gears underneath and some of the bottle caps as well. And then I'm going to use the ultra pretty heart gears from Ink and Foam. I love these. I love that they're white, so it's definitely going to offset these from the metal ones underneath them. And I may have used a few different ones on the actual on the other tray, but you can pretty much use whatever gears you want. There we go. Had to find a place for it to rest. It didn't want to go anywhere. All right. We are almost to the flowers. Couple more embellishments. Let me grab one thing really quickly. Okay, I got these little wooden chandeliers. I cannot remember where. I think Michael's. Yeah, Michael's. We're going to dress him up using some of the new hardware. So I'm just sticking him in there. This is what we have so far. Pre-flowers, because we've only got a couple more embellishments to go. So I'm going to add the pull here right on top. Anytime I have like chandeliers or anything that's kind of intricate, I always look around and see what I can add to it to give it more detail, make it kind of funky rather than just sticking the chandelier on there. And on the original tray, I had one more of those little light bulbs left. And I do believe I'm out, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. I just stuck the little junkyard finding light bulb right there. So any little light bulb you have would look super cute coming out right there. All right, we've got this compartment left, and that's it. We are on to flowers. And they will cover up all of our blank spaces. So I'm adding this guy here in the corner. The flowers are going to cover him up, so I cut him in half to make him stretch. I seem to always cut my little clocks in half because they're so great to just tuck in between things and have it poking out. All right, let me double check. I think we've got one more thing to glue, and we really are onto flowers, the best part. All right, I'm going to use one of these cast iron pieces. These are so amazing. It's just such an intricate little piece. It's beautiful. I love it so much. It's so pretty. So we're going to be using this up here in the corner. Again, using a little bit of hot glue. Okay. All right. Last thing before flowers is this chipboard lace. You may think it was lace, but it's really chipboard. And we're just going to add it right here. I only need 2 of the pieces though, so I'm going to cut this extra little part piece off and glue it right there. And I'm going to use hot glue because this is chipboard. So anything chipboard or paper that's really lightweight, hot glue is fine to use. All right, now it's flower time. We got about 10 minutes to add all these flowers in. Can we do it? Can we do it? All right, the first flower I'm going to use is this little one from the Vintage Trinkets, a little metal one. So this is pre-flowers. Now we're going to add our flowers in. All right. So he's going to get tucked in right here in the corner. A lot of him will be hidden when it's all said and done, but you'll see him from certain angles. So I'm just putting him right there. A little bit more adhesive. There we go. All right. On to these beautiful flowers that match perfectly to this collection. I'm going to be using this guy right here, and I'm just going to glue him right there. Again, I'm going to use hot glue because it's just paper and it's the quickest adhesive, so I have no problem using hot glue on them. All right, I'm going to grab my Tatiana flowers, which are just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Metal flowers, yes, it's definitely an obsession for me. And Miss Adrienne, who is on here, she is like the queen of layering flowers. She's absolutely brilliant at it. I do not have that talent like she does. So I'm going to actually, usually I peel off all the leaves off of flowers. I'm really weird like that. It looks completely unnatural, but I really love these flowers, the leaves on them. They're so super pretty. They're just gorgeous. And I just knocked off my block hands over there. I'm going to tuck this guy in the corner, kind of on top of the blue one, and I want the leaves just to kind of overlap the Eiffel Tower here. And I just kind of pull the petals in different ways to kind of get it to look how I want. Now I'm going to add my Providence spray, which is like my favorite vine ever. And I think I cut the very tip of it off. Let's see here. No, I guess I didn't. I thought I ended up cutting some of it off, but I didn't. So again, I'm going to use hot glue for him. I'm actually going to put it on the tray and a little bit right here on the chipboard, and that's it. Because I like to be able to move it how I want. Move the vine in and out. So I'm just going to glue it in 2 little places. That way you have all this movement to kind of play with. See where you want it to stay ultimately. I love, love, love these Providence vines. They are just beautiful. I was so happy when Prima released these. Alright, so this is our vine. We're going to add some more flowers though, just to kind of fill it in. And I go to those beautiful rolled flowers. They are so, so, so pretty. Alright, so I'm going to stick with the neutral ones at first. They do. They work great on everything. I love them. And I also am really becoming fond of these rolled flowers. They are so pretty. They're absolutely beautiful. I'm going to add in one more type of flower. Find him. And I'm also going to ink the centers of these flowers just to give them more depth at the end. Of course, all the inking and misting and stuff you can do always adds more depth. I love, love, love to add just one light squirt of brown ink to the center of flowers. I think it makes them look so pretty. All right, I'm missing, there they are. Okay. I did use one of these guys. I think just one little guy. And I'm obsessed with brown and blue right now. Like all of my projects seem to have the same color scheme going on. So I'm just tucking it right there. Making sure I get all the little yucky glue strings. Okay. So that is that little spray. Nothing like Adrienne does because she is brilliant. That's the best I can do with my flowers. I'm not nearly as gifted as her. All right, so over here we're going to add another rolled flower to cover up a little bit of that clock. You can move a little bit more of it out. And I'm going to kind of push him into the corner. This guy came off. I had to fix him real quick. All right, where else do we need flowers? Oh, we have the one that goes up here. This is probably the prettiest little flower ever. It has 2 leaves on it, which I adore these leaves. They're so pretty. And he's just going to go right here beside our little magnifying glass, our little looking glass. And I also have a tassel from the Evil Foam line that I'm going to tuck in there. I love using these tassels. They're so pretty. So I'm just going to lift up one of the leaves and take my little string and push it in there. And have him hang down in that compartment. All right, y'all, we are almost done. Let me see what I am missing. Oh, the butterfly. I have to stamp and add. Okay, so last thing before the sprays, we are going to run probably like 5 minutes over, maybe 10. Don't kill me, y'all. All I'm doing is getting a scrap piece of paper and using the butterfly from the Stamp and Add. I hardly ever use the actual stamping block. I just use my fingers. I'm too lazy to get a stamping block most of the time. That one was too small, so I'm just using this larger one. I try to make sure I press evenly, just so it's a nice, good impression. And that's good enough for me. So now I'm just going to fussy cut this out. These are so versatile, you can do just about anything with them. I have a big idea for my next project using the angel wings one. Hopefully it comes out how it is in my head. Sometimes that doesn't work out. And you don't even have to perfectly fussy cut this out. Since I use the branch bark to stamp it, all I have to do is kind of use a little bit more on the edges. And it'll cover up any part that I didn't cut it right on the line. Just blends it right in. Alright, I'm just going to add him right here. We're going to add one of the beautiful centers that come with it. You can do 2 or 3 layers of these wings if you want to, just anything for extra dimension. So I'm going to add my little centerpiece. So at the bottom I'm going to use the gel to adhere it, and then at the top again I'm going to use the hot glue, just so it stays perfectly still. Alright, so now let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. We do have the glass that needs to go in there, but that can obviously wait. It takes a while to dry. So yeah, now all I need to do is I do a coat of clear gesso over everything. I usually wait till I'm done to do it just because it saves time. I already did my paper, so all I have to do is use a little bit of clear gesso on top of my embellishments. And the coloring process is super quick. I do not spend a lot of time with that. For this one, I used the edgers, which is the branch bark, and the turquoise stone one. Again, those are linked on the blog today, on the Live with Prima Facebook. And then I'm going to use some alcohol inks. I always make sure I get my flowers really, really well with the clear gesso because they tend to take most of the sprays that I do. All the metal is going to already take any kind of inking very well, but paper usually doesn't. It'll just absorb it and it'll look all kinds of funky. So make sure you use a clear gesso on it. Just a little bit more. Clear gesso is a lifesaver. If you are afraid to try mixed media, use clear gesso because you can literally take a baby wipe and wipe everything off. If you don't like the way it looks, wipe it off. I keep baby wipes handy, always. Clear gesso makes mixed media very forgiving. All right, last one, and we are on to the spraying, or I guess the inking. Okay. One thing I am going to add when it's all over is some of the alphas from the Fairy Bell set right all over the place, but I'm going to wait until everything is done. Otherwise, stickers tend to pull up pretty easily. All right, so what I do is I grab my water bottle. Let me move everything out of the way so I don't get anything wet or inky. I'm using, along with the chalk edgers, I'm going to use, let me go ahead and show you two real quick before I start spraying. So this is what we've got. If you have to log off now, this is where we're at. I know we're a couple minutes behind, but even before inking it, I mean, it's a very pretty tray. These papers and embellishments are perfect. So let me grab my last alcohol ink. I'm using Stonewash, I think it is, and Latte, and I used one more color. If I can find him, he's hiding from me. There we go. Just a little bit of a more yellow alcohol ink. And all I do is first I just lightly mist the entire tray with water. And I'm going to really get my flowers wet. And I just drop a couple of drops of ink in the center of it. And it'll just spread out really nicely if you spray it first. If you don't spray it, it's going to kind of look blotchy and weird. So I just go ahead and spray it. I love putting just a little bit of color in the center. Very pretty. If Bona is, oh, she's permanent now. That is awesome. Congratulations, Bona. I know that's so exciting. I knew she was going to do a few shows. I didn't know if she was permanent or not yet. So that is absolutely awesome. Congratulations. So it's up to you how much color you add. For the chipboard, I kind of went heavy because I didn't want to cover up all of the raw chipboard. So I'm just going to kind of go around and randomly do dots of alcohol ink. If you do a little bit of spray on top of it, spray a little bit of water, you can cause it to kind of run. You can see on the lion head how it's kind of running down into the compartment, and that's what I want it to do. So I'm just going to kind of spray a couple drops, or add a couple drops of the alcohol ink and then spray it with water. And that just causes it to spread very nicely. And I'm just going to kind of turn it around. It's up to you how much color you add. You can add none, you can add a ton. For those mixed media masters, you guys are amazing. I'm always a little bit timid when it comes to adding color. Alright, so around this guy, I'm going to add color coming out from the bottle cap. So I'm just sticking the alcohol ink tip right under there and letting it bleed out. And you can see when you spray it with water how much lighter it got. You can keep a paper towel handy to kind of blot excess off, or you can just go darker, totally up to you. So we've got that part done. We're going to add the other two colors. It's going to be a wrap. These metal pieces always take the ink so well. I can actually do this with it facing you. Thank you. I love brown and gold. Any kind of hue or tone of brown and blue and gold is just absolutely my favorite. I'm going to go ahead and throw some blue in there. And this might not be exactly like the other one. You can't really control the color that precisely, so it might be a little bit different. But I'm just going to keep on adding little drops and adding water. Sometimes I'll let it dry overnight, and when I come back the next day, I'll add just a tidbit more. Definitely up to you how much to do. Also, if you don't have the alcohol inks and you just have the chalk edgers, another thing you can do is take a water brush and just use the chalk edger directly. Let me squeeze it to get some out, and I just go right on there with my water brush. Probably, maybe if you put it on a piece of glass or something first, kind of just get you a nice little puddle. You can definitely add color just doing that. Let me get up close and show you. So I'm going to add color to this little metal piece. And I'm just using my chalk edger and a water brush. And you can also literally just stamp it right on there and spray and get the very same effect that you did with the alcohol inks. So I'm just going to add a little bit and spray. Same thing on this guy. And spray. And that is pretty much it, y'all. I'm going to add a couple more drops, but that is basically it. Does anybody have any questions on anything? If I skipped something, all I have left to do is add my little alphas from the Fairy Bell collection. And I always go in with pearls, what are they called? Liquid pearls, and add those around. They just add a lot of extra detail to the project. So I'll always go around my edges and stuff with the liquid pearls. I'm going to dab up a little bit of the excess just so it's not too crazy. And I'm going to save my next tip for the next class because I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that one because we are out of time. We are 7 minutes after, so I definitely apologize, y'all, for taking up your time. But this is pretty much it. I'll go ahead and show y'all up close. All that is left is to add the little alphas from the Fairy Bell collection. All I did was use the numbers. I just like peeled a few off and stuck them randomly and made up serial numbers in my head. And since it's wet, it's not wanting to stick on there. That's why I wait till everything's dry, so it's kind of hard to show that. But just take your numerals and add them. That is it. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Tiffany. I really appreciate that. I'm sure the next show will be a lot smoother. I'm definitely not going to do anything this elaborate again. This was a little time consuming, so I definitely appreciate y'all sticking in there and staying tuned. I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Thank you all so much for coming. Aw, good night from Tennessee. Good night, Song. Good night, Kieran, Delina, everybody. Carrie, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for the patience to put up with me on my first show. Thank you all very much. Have a great night. I'm going to go ahead and stop it right now. Nice to meet you too. Good night, everybody. Bye.